Check 1, 2. Let's check out the audio. Check out the audio. Check out the audio. Okay, sounds good. Welcome back in. All right, so this is our second session of the Final Fantasy VII scripting. We are playing through Final Fantasy VII, the Steam version through the 7th Heaven mod manager, and we are going at a very slow pace, focusing on the story, but specifically on the writing of this specific version, and we are essentially compiling all of the dialogue into what is the beginning bones of a screenplay. So that is the mission at hand. Last night we went from the beginning up through the bombing mission and got back to Sector 7. And that is where we ended. So we're back at it again tonight. To shift the game over slightly. There we go. I like that. Let's get our notepad in the right spot. Yeah, we've already started the Sector 7 section, so everything looks good on the stream. Let's jump right back into things. Let's try to get a decent pace tonight. I think we got about 1,300 words last night in about an hour and a half. So let's see if we can maybe increase our pace a little bit. And again, we are just going through the storyline here on this playthrough. We're not worried about going around and talking to all of the other NPCs. We're just focused on the plot and the dialogue that here pertaining to the plot. I also have my mic in a different spot tonight, so we're gonna see how my wrist and forearm fares. I think that's how you spell Marlene's name. We'll see in a second. Oh, I bet it's E and E. That just felt right all of a sudden. Yep. And there it is on the screen. We don't yet know this is Tifa. For some reason, my brain cannot, for the life of me, remember to all caps names. Let's do it, specifically Marlene. I'm trying to remember. I don't think at this point Cloud has even mentioned Tifa back at the bar, which is why her name is not listed at the top, which the game allows you to choose the characters' names, so it will not lock that in yet. So that is confirmation that Tifa has not been mentioned yet. But this reaction here by Marlene keys us further into the fact that Cloud is a stranger to most of these people. We get that very early on, right, with Biggs and Jesse's conversation about Cloud and how he's technically part of Soldier, or was part of Soldier, the enemy of Avalanche, so he hasn't been around long. I think what Barrett's first words is to call him newcomer, right? So we're getting the sense that Cloud has not been around very long. And he's new to these people. So Tifa, in her first 2 lines of dialogue here, calls Cloud by name, keying us in as a new viewer, or reader in this case. Clues us into they have a past, and we're going to dive into that past very quickly. The game really takes its time here to establish their prior relationship. So, just a very interesting way of letting us know right off the bat. Tifa knows Cloud. She knows Cloud. And right off the bat with our multiple options, dialogue options. So, if I remember correctly from last night, we went number 1, we went Cloud, we went down here, said yeah, and then we did the same thing here with 2 Cloud, not this time. I always choose not this time. I don't know why. Maybe I want Tifa to be proud. I feel like, though, even her response to that is a little knowing, right? There is a little bit of cheekiness there. Again, sort of leaning into that familiarity. No, okay, so there's a couple of different ways to take this. Number 1, if she's being sincere, it is showing that they have a history. She obviously had seen him prior to him growing up, and for him to show that maturity, it shows growth, right? But I like to read it as, again, a little bit of cheekiness on Tifa's part, and essentially calling him childish in general, right? Like, you're not supposed to fight necessarily, unnecessarily, with your superiors, but with your peers. And her expecting that to be the case, and then kind of chiding him a little bit with hey, you've actually grown up. And right immediately after I said what I said, she actually does delve into childhood when you were little. Let's go around here and see what folks have to say. And even though I said I'm not going around and getting ambient dialogue, I still, in these in-between cutscene moments, especially with NPCs that are directly involved with the plot at the moment, I really want to chronicle if there are little pieces of exposition or explanations about the world or about the teammates, things like that. So we're gonna chronicle them, try to exhaust them as well. Getting all excited, stop making such a mess. Let's see how he responds. He's gonna ignore. Wedge is always giving us some optional dialogue. Last night I mentioned at least whenever I play normally, I tend to sort of roleplay Cloud here at the beginning and give the more abrupt, colder answers, unless it's like with Aerith and Tifa, and then I can't help but give the warmer answers, the polite answers. But with the Biggs and Wedge, I'll give colder. I don't know if I will here. I'm kind of curious to see what he has to say. Seventh Heaven, famous around Sector 7. I wonder if it's famous around other sectors as well. Oh, this one actually will let me double up. Interesting. Haha. A little 2 for 1 there. Usually they won't let me do that. Now, unfortunately for Wedge, that means the last thing he'll remember about this is we were rude as heck to him. Is that a bottle of Mountain Dew right there? Is that why he's all squirmy? Oh, my man's already a little tipsy. Okay. I will actually accept the drink. We saw this a little bit with Barrett in last night's episode as well. Very early on here, Cloud's obviously presenting a persona, a tough soldier persona. And there are a few comments that he makes, specifically on the train, that for Barrett, it was surprising at how thoughtful Cloud was, as he's appeared to be very gruff and abrupt. And now, with this response, it's surprising Biggs that he's sort of willing to kick it back, because, again, he's played it very straight so far. Even if you're a soldier, I also like this because Biggs getting tipsy is getting very bold. He's not quite as infatuated with Cloud as Wedge is, naturally. So getting a little bit of alcohol in his system, and he's gonna he's gonna toughen up to Cloud a little bit. But then he catches himself. Really good, really good. Little hiccup, and then acknowledging that Barrett is in charge. We'll go ahead and chronicle Marlene. Not wanting to speak with Cloud, and then let's see what Tifa has to say. If you're watching the document here, I'm about to stop capitalizing for a bit because those all caps are killing my hand. Type a little faster without them anyway. And I always do accept the drink. So that's what we'll do. Her line here expressing concern, and wow, that TV is going absolutely bonkers in the background. Definitely a graphical glitch. Jeez. Her line here expressing some concern for her childhood friend. And Cloud. And once the bigger reveals of this game come out later on, her concern toward him makes way more sense, right? But it's interesting that they sort of pepper that concern in here in using the guise of childhood friend, right? But there's really something else going on here that's driving her concern, and that is one reason that Cloud is a little confused by her level of concern. He's obviously, again, playing it tough, especially around her. Soldier first class, baby. Quite cold toward here. A little bit more concern. And specifically with the way he's feeling. And he doesn't know why. But again, that conversation really achieves that purpose of showing the familiarity between the characters and this history dating back to childhood. The news showing the blast from Sector 1. interesting line here from Jesse, especially given the context that the remake really leans into. That attempts to sort of repaint these attacks as being intentionally heightened by Shinra Corp, and the extent of the damage is not necessarily intentional on Avalanche's part. But even back in the original here, Jesse seems unsure if something went wrong, right? Was that all because of my bomb? I really did make it like the computer told me. So that seems to insinuate that the extent of the damage was not... She did not intend that. And she's blaming it on a miscalculation. President Shinra has announced that he has released Soldier onto Avalanche, trying to find the perpetrators. So it's reasonable that Barrett would want to ask Cloud about that. Because if Soldier had been on this bombing mission, then Barrett's like, okay, well, maybe having Soldier after us won't be that big of a deal. And Cloud is about to probably not dispel his fear. Yeah, and so Cloud here, not only not dispelling Barrett's fear, but confirming it, right? But Barrett cannot show that fear. He will not allow himself to show that fear. But I think the interesting thing here is that Barrett's not... I don't think Barrett is scared for himself. If you remember back in the train car when they're waiting for Cloud to get back to rejoin them, there's a little bit of subtlety in Barrett's responses where it seems like he was obviously concerned for Cloud's safety. In him reassuring the other team that Cloud was okay, it was almost like he was reassuring himself that Cloud was okay. So Barrett is the type of leader that really, really cares for the well-being of his teammates. And so here it's like he's nervous that soldiers being sicked onto his group, right? His family, the people that he loves. So yeah, that's where the fear is. It's a little bit of anxiety about what is he getting them into, you know? He wants to protect the planet, but he's also become so close with these individuals. And again, like he has done before, he's not sure how to express, you know, the complex emotions that he's thinking. He's reverting to essentially accusing Cloud of potential double crossing, right? Falling back on his alliance with Shinra. And it seems pretty obvious right here that that is an empty accusation. Again, he's covering up for his anxiety about the upcoming mission, about the well-being of his team. It probably also frustrates Barrett that, again, especially with President Shinra's announcement, he is concerned about his team, and Cloud is concerned about money. It might be that, you know, he doesn't have enough to pay Cloud. We'll see that in a second. But it also could be that deep down, he is hoping that, like himself, even though he has this real gruff exterior, he's really bonded with Avalanche, the members of Avalanche, and so he was probably deep down hoping that Cloud would as well. And with Cloud reverting to, I want my money, again, has to hit Barrett not in the the best way possible. Little continued characterization of like Cloud's detachment, or his exterior detachment, what he is projecting as detachment. He made it very clear early on that he did not care about Avalanche. He did not care about the members of the team. He did not care about people's names. He was just there for the job. Now he's really professing and exclaiming that he does not care about Shinra or Soldier. So essentially his past, he's detached. It's his way of seeming together. Exactly, and he's going to fall back on, I don't care about Avalanche either. And he doesn't care about the planet. Also something that he mentioned earlier in the elevator, I believe it was, not my problem. He doesn't care about anything. Love this line here from Tifa. I imagine her, it's not a whisper, but she's dropped her tone, right? She's dropped her voice so that only Cloud can hear. And it's a plea, it's a plea. Again, I feel like this really connects with their backstory, with like their prior connection. She's pleading with him like a true friend, like, please make this work, right? And I can also visualize Cloud begrudgingly like give her a single nod, completely deadpan, but her plea pierces that hard exterior. Alright, let's see. Is Wedge gonna ask us something else? You say you don't care. Cloud made a big mistake. Cloud regrets coming over here so much. Again, Wedge with the choice. And interestingly here, both options are slightly negative. One is pretty antagonistic, and then the other is so apathetic. So to stay consistent with the rest of the scene, we're going to go with the I don't care again. And that gets a pretty sad response from Wedge. I mean, there is a real combination of responses you can give him in this early part of the game that you could really see it as like Wedge's like villain origin, right? I also like that this line isn't Cloud, you just want to be friends, which I feel like would have also been in character with Wedge, as the adoring fan, and he's shown nothing but like puppy level of excitement about Cloud and infatuation with Cloud. So I think it would have been in character for him to say, you just want to be friends. And while that would have been in character for Wedge, I think that also it would have come across as really naive, whereas this, you just want friends, I think is very insightful. So that's just a little interesting piece of character there. Now we're going to see what happens with blow off. And that response gets, it produces another really, really good piece of insight. So like those two lines, you just want friends, isn't that right? Yeah, you look kind of lonely to me. Very insightful from Edge. Especially as the very obvious like humor character. And then we get this. We really get an offering of friendship, and not in like the adoring fan way like we've seen previously from Wedge. It really is this this reaching out of one human to another. Very interesting. I don't think we can reach Biggs, unfortunately. And then I think this gives us a kind of a funny line here about money. Yeah, it's like Cloud went over there because again, I don't know. There's a lot of comedy in that, dark comedy in this interaction, because we had asked Barrett about the money. He's obviously not in the right headspace to talk about money. Then we have Tifa say to patch things up, and then to turn around and immediately ask Jesse about money. Just very interesting, comedic, and like she's also, let's remember, she's not in a great mental state, because even though she was proud about the bomb, she's also a little concerned that she may have messed something up and like really caused some damage, killing people and causing way more destruction than she meant to. And then because of that, Shinra's putting Soldier out. Again, everyone is just, there's a lot of anxiety about like, what did we just do, right? Like, we knew what we were trying to do, but did we just really step in it? So again, a little bit of a dark comedy moment here for me. Cloud asking her about the money. We don't get a title on this box. I am pretty sure this is Tifa though, because again she asked to patch. She asked Cloud to patch things up, and then he turns around and asks about money. So I really like that coming from Tifa. I don't think Tifa will say anything else to us. Yeah. Cool. Tifa's really leaning into the familiarity again here. Potentially building off of the everything that she talked about before, like really reminding him of their prior connection, so that then, I mean, it's possible, not in necessarily a manipulative way, but like she's just really wanting to sort of give her ace card here and try to get him to join them. A little bit of motivation there for him. And the reason I say that is, I mean, we're about to see right here, she's about to use the friend card for sure, without a doubt. So someone has to do something. I can't think of a more opposite reaction. And again, remember that she was not on the mission. So Barrett has presented this very passionate case for the planet, and Cloud just completely shuts it down. I don't care about the planet. And Tifa probably overhears Cloud say that from the basement, but she's not standing there in front of him. So this is really her first time to confront him and present her perspective that the planet is important and worth saving. Someone has to do something. Again, very opposite from Cloud's projected stance from earlier. And he's going to reiterate that here. And there it is, the card. The friend card. So one of these, obviously defensive and deflective, and then one of these, there's an admission. Was 7 years ago. And we get a flashback from their home in Nibelheim. think we are actually going to use the young tag here for readability's sake. Cloud always leaving her. This man had a vision. He's like, I will make this happen. The best there is, like Sephiroth, more like Wolverine. Yep, I just wanted to confirm. Our first official mention of Sephiroth. We'll talk a lot more about Sephiroth later, but just very interesting. This is the very first mention in a flashback scene where Cloud is looking up to this character and wanting to emulate this character and the character's feat. So we will obviously see in the story how that might change, but an interesting first impression for Sephiroth, especially again considering the context of Remake's first impression of Sephiroth. We also really need to remember this conversation. Because this was the last time they spoke together in a a very long time. 7 years. So this is the Cloud that she remembers. This is the Cloud that she has the image of. Is this the Cloud that comes back to Midgar and goes on the bombing mission? I would say it probably, from her perspective, is not a very different person, which we will see means something. Again, there are going to be spoilers as we do this. If you're watching me script this game, I would assume you have played it before, because this is a very unentertaining way of consuming this piece of media. But I think it's fun, number one, and I really like going this pace to sort of dig in from an analytical perspective, which is my background in English literature. Okay, so let's say that the memory scene fades with a shooting star tracing the sky. This is really a sad line here. The shake of the head and I'm not famous and I'm not a hero. And the I'm not a hero is sad on multiple levels because of the persona that he is presenting. Is a persona whose dream was to be a hero. So it feels like a defeated persona, if you will. He's like, well, someone's gonna keep a promise in this bar, so if it has to be me, then it's me. I think it's also interesting that that is called Barrett's stash. It's not called Cloud's stipend, it's not called Cloud's salary, and we're about to see in a second. Again, when I was talking about earlier, like, one of Barrett's hesitations could be because he doesn't have enough money to pay Cloud. And we're seeing here that may actually be reality. He just gave Cloud something called Barrett's stash, which makes me think that that's all Barrett's got. again, Tifa here with just a really pleading tone. You can tell that she is used to keeping everyone together. And if we haven't gotten enough subtext that Barrett is not just this meathead, this one will do it. He's taking money out of Marlene's education funds. Alright, we've been going for an hour, and this is a decent stopping point, so I'm going to pause for a few minutes to go refill my water, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Alright, so we've officially slept in the basement here. Marlene's not gonna say anything. All right. So again, just as a reminder, what we're doing here is we're playing through Final Fantasy VII, but very slowly, and I'm scripting this out to turn into a screenplay for Final Fantasy VII. So we're kind of like reading through the dialogue and typing it out as we go. Very potentially unentertaining way of consuming this game, but having fun with it. Barrett's snorting. Let's see, we're gonna go cloud, we're gonna go that there, and then number 2. Now I believe that our second option here will give us a dating point for Tifa later on, but again, I typically roleplay Cloud as his gruff self, so do it for Kingdom Hearts 2. That would be a lot of fun. I may do that. I may do that at some point. I feel like either a novelization or a screenplay version of all the Kingdom Hearts would be awesome. So you should do that for Kingdom Hearts 2. Okay, so we're gonna go with Barrett's snoring kept me up because I don't have Cloud being flirty at this point. Alright, so we mentioned a few minutes ago how Barrett is very anxious right now because President Shinra has made the announcement that he's sicking Soldier onto this small organization, and Barrett has probably recruited all of these people into this mission. They've successfully gone on one mission, and because it caused more destruction than they were hoping or expecting, now Barrett's in a situation where he cares for these people, and he's put them in a lot of danger. And I think he's really coming to realize just how much danger he's put them in. So yeah, he's going to be edgy right now. And Tifa sat the last one out, so she's going this time. And that's all she says. That's all she says. Alright, so we hit the Sector 1 reactor last time. And now we're going Sector 5. Notice that they're not going Sector 7 reactor. How far am I into the playthrough? About 2 hours. I did a stint last night for an hour and a half. I just got through the first, basically the tutorial stage, which was the bombing mission. If you remember that from Remake, it's pretty much the same deal. So we went on the bombing mission, blew up Sector 1. Came back on the train, and then have been in the hideout ever since. So pretty much all of tonight's session has been the Seventh Heaven conversations. We got a little bit of backstory between Tifa and Cloud. She reminds him that they were childhood friends, and we saw a little bit of that. We saw when Cloud announced to her as a kid that he wanted to leave their hometown to become a soldier and be the best that there ever was, like Sephiroth and Wolverine. Okay, so I'm typing this down for right now, but like I mentioned last night, I'm going to be omitting kind of the gamey directions. This is tutorial. We're going to tell him he wouldn't understand. That's funny, so I'm going to put that down. Josh, how far did you get in Final Fantasy VII Remake? You were probably at this point then, like if you got back to the town after the bombing run, which I believe that we played together the first bombing mission. So if you got back to the town and you were about to leave, I bet what was about to happen is you were about to go with Jessie to her parents' neighborhood, which was an addition that's not in the original. But eventually, like you were going to be on this exact mission here, which we see some interesting things here. It's a cool profile picture on Sharpie there. I got a message. Upstairs. I feel like this is more. There's something he wants to give you. Since we are skipping random battles and we're invincible, I don't think we're gonna need the thing from the weapon shop, but I'm also a wild man and don't want to miss out on the opportunity of potentially some information about Midgar or something, so let's go grab it. Also, leaving the bar in the hands of the 7-year-old is a great idea. Is the weapon shop? I think it's over here. But is the man upstairs in the weapon shop? Was it just the save point that he wants to give us? Yeah, we're not gonna type this down. We're not gonna type this down, right? Yeah, we're not gonna type it. That's all. We don't need Final Fantasy School, okay? I will take this save point though, because it has been a minute since we saved. It has been quite the minute. You know, so thinking about doing this for Kingdom Hearts 2, it occurs to me, and I was actually, I had this realization about potentially doing this with Remake as well. This is pretty easy because it's all text dialogue and I can go at my own pace. I would have to pause all of the cutscenes in KH2 on each line. I would do it because I'm a madman. But that sounds less than desirable. Let's go on this mission. We're gonna call this Sector 5 mission. We're heading towards Sector 5. Oh no. No, you're covering it up. Oh no. What is it saying? Something right here. I guess that's it, right? I think 2 exclamations. KH1 would definitely be a lot easier. Our business person. So I mentioned last night, but I am playing the Steam version of this game, but I'm using what's called the Seventh Heaven Mod Manager. So this looks so much better than the original game. Let me give you an example, because I know that you've more than likely seen the actual OG in action. But I really want to highlight how good this mod is. Okay, so here is the original Cloud. There's Barrett, but also I got so wrapped up into that I dropped the ball on my job here. Let's see, Barrett, you say something. But I want to get Barrett out of the way. I think this is also Barrett saying that. Oh, no. Yeah, I think that's still Barrett. This is going to be this guy. We're going to give Barrett the benefit of the doubt here that he doesn't punch this innocent man, and he punches the railing next to the business person. And then the business person will say, yipes. Now, is this the business person or is this Barrett? Because is the business person saying this to Barrett, sort of imploring him to back off, or is this Barrett being intimidating? Let's just get the line down and see if it becomes a little bit more clear in the next line. I'm leaning toward business guy. Yes. Okay. All right. So he's imploring with Barrett. He's like, I toe the company line. I would go to work even though I might die. And Barrett didn't even realize that the man worked for Shinra. Shinra being the corporation that Avalanche is trying to take down. And we finally have a name for him, Shinra Manager. That's the first one of those that went out of order. Let's see. These are so hard to type. Bear was about to literally tear that man's head off. This guy is literally messing up the plans, though. Again, they are essentially fugitives. Their identities have not been compromised yet, though. So they're not in danger yet, but they can't. They're supposed to discuss the plans on the plane, so they can't really talk openly now, right? Too late to turn back. Serious about his work. So we got the security checkpoint. Scanning IDs. So we used fakes last time, not going to be able to this time. Train announcer. That would be AM, I assume. They're just gonna bail. Just absolute bail right now. Now, if we will remember, we did this with Jesse just last night. Well, we're gonna do it with Sifa tonight. Alright, crosses the train car to stand next to Tifa in front of the monitor. Aha, she can tell. She knows we've been here with Jesse. Things have gone awry. We've messed up. Oh yeah, the music's kicking in now. There we go. Jesse messed up. Unfortunately. She was in charge of the IDs. She messed up on the bomb last time, messed up on the IDs this time, but that's okay. We still love her. Someone blew it. Yeah, Jesse did, and that's not going to end well. Oh no! Hands are sweating right now. This is so intense. Oh gosh. Changing to plan 2. What the heck is plan 2? We got 15 seconds. Go, boy. Alright, what you got for me? Car number 2. Down. 220. Level 3. Thank goodness the flashing lights are over. We gotta jump. We gotta jump. I guess that's plan number 2. Oh, it's back. Get out of the way. Oh my goodness. Okay, I don't know what that said. Let's get an instant replay on that. Okay. It said car number 3 locked down, upgrading to running level 4. Now we're in car number 4 locked down, upgrading to maximum security alert. Oh, I was like, do I look good in a Shinra uniform? Sharpie, does she look good in a Shinra uniform? Yes or no? Alright. As I've said multiple times, role-playing Cloud here, he's going to say, not now, let's focus on the mission. Not now. Just concentrate on our plan. Okay. Well, tell Bob I'm sorry that I couldn't give that to him. Cloud's giving her the business here. Too late for that now. Don't cry. Just Barrett being the voice of reason here. You got anything to say? No. She's gonna go for it. Oh, and she just did it. Didn't wait for permission. We love to see it. Alright. This is yet another example. Another sort of subtle line here showing Barrett's leadership and the fact that he's not just a meathead. So, leader always stays till the end. Great little line. Don't worry about me. Just go. That's going to come back into play at the end of this mission. So just from a writing perspective, a great little piece of foreshadowing. And a bonding moment between Barrett and Cloud. Because what do good friends do? They repeat each other. And we're going to see this come back into play. Great little piece of dialogue there. And as we've been saying all night, Barrett acts tough, but deep down, he likes Cloud. He likes Cloud. And he also, of course, wants the mission to go well, but he wants Cloud to be okay. Goes back to the last time we were in the train car and everyone was worried about him. All right, I'm trying to get through this, okay? All right, we're 5 seconds away. There you go. All right. I guess I should have given like a seizure warning. A little bit of comedy here from the writers. Everything's going as planned. Love to see it. Again, from a writing perspective, we've had sort of an interesting flow to the game so far, where obviously the bombing mission, right out the gate, you're starting this game high intensity all throughout the sort of the remainder of that, and then you have that little downtime in Seventh Heaven, a lot of character moments, and then you have immediately that huge set piece there with a lot of intense action and red blinking lights that make your room go crazy. But now we kind of go at the beginning of this sequence, we've kind of come back down, even though we're still on the job. That's exactly what we're telling you. I don't know whether to tell you I'm proud or good luck. I do hope it goes well. I do hope your midterm goes well. Hope it goes better than that train car. I am about to get off as well as soon as I get to a save point. Thanks for hopping on though. Oh my goodness. Open book without the book? Is it at least a subject that you're familiar with? Concepts that you've heard before? And down we go. We received an ether, which we will definitely not be using in this playthrough. Oh, wow. We've been going so long that I forgot that I didn't disable random encounters. So let's do that, shall we? I actually forgot that I have to do that every time. This is a little annoying. What's Wedge got for me? There's a line though that I want from Jessie. I think she might be up here. I want to make sure that I get this. She admits to the IDs being her fault. Okay. Love this piece of dialogue here. This characterization of Jessie. Like, she's so earnest. She's so earnest. We saw her in the Avalanche hideout, stressing out over making the bomb too good and thinking that she messed up. She was proud of it, but she was worried that she had caused too much damage on accident by doing a miscalculation. And then she knew in the train, when the blinking lights were going, she knew she had messed up. She even alludes to that. I'll explain later. So she's so earnest and hates messing up. She hates messing up. And this line here saying, I did my best, but I failed, absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. She's really kicking herself. So that was interesting. So last night, there was a piece of dialogue that I wasn't too sure what she meant, because I think the execution of the dialogue was a little odd. But if we come back up here, it's after her big monologue on the train, and then next time I'll make one just for you. And and if you say, okay, so she says, I know, next time I'll make one just for you, meaning an ID. They've been talking about fake IDs. I'll make an ID just for you. And if you say looking forward to it, she'll say, after talking with you, I'm ready to try. She's ready to try modifying that ID as a gift for Cloud. And then that is what caused the problem. I modified your ID card, and that's what did it. She was trying to make a custom one for Cloud and messed up. And she's so crushed that she's just going back to work. Brutal. I think I just want to go straight back. I always do that. Now she's gone. While I'm thinking about it, let's move all of this up here. And we should be hitting our save point right about now, I think. I've been going right at 2 hours. Absolutely perfect. This has been a great... Do these just look the same, or is this the exact same place that I just was and I didn't know? Okay. Perfect. Let's go ahead and grab Biggs. Yeah. So we are going to save and sign off after a phenomenal session. Thank you everyone who stopped in and chatted for a bit and followed along this crazy journey as we script out Final Fantasy VII in order to format it into a screenplay later on, getting all of the dialogue of the main plot at the moment. Let's see, can we get a quick word count for tonight's efforts? $3,600, so we hit the same word count that we did last time. Slow and steady, 3,600 words total. So anyway, yes, thank you everyone for stopping in and watching. This has been scripting out Final Fantasy VII, slowly but surely, and looking at the writing, talking about the story as we go. We will be back at it probably tomorrow night. So I will see you then.